Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. Today, we're going over the player prop bets here. We'll probably make a list of 5 total bets, and we'll get a long list of bets that you guys are going to consider. We got Jesse consulting with us today. How's it going, Jesse?
Good morning. Happy Saturday. It's changing seasons.
It's getting fun. This is probably the last nice weekend that we're going to get. I think it's almost touching 60 degrees here in Milwaukee, and it looks like you're going golfing this afternoon. So enjoy that.
Yes, sir.
But we're going to help you guys get set for your DraftKings prop bets. Again, we normally we stick to touchdown bets. That's been kind of our most consistent bet. Last week, I was amazingly 5 for 5, which that's the first time that's happened all year. Probably not going to do that again this week, but we're going to try our best. 29 out of 50 so far on the year. So we're just barely over 50%. I'm going to take it. That's almost 3 out of 5. So just under 60% total correct. And we're going to kind of go fast-paced in this one, probably go about a half an hour. But Jesse, do you want to pick our first game that we get to look at? Should we look at Broncos, Cowboys, Vikings, Ravens? What are you feeling for first game to open up?
Yeah, let's just jump right to the top. Dallas and Denver. Could be a fun game.
And lately, I like to click on the quarterback props because sometimes the quarterback passing touchdowns. So they got like Dak at 1.5. That's minus 210, not really enticing. And Teddy Bridgewater over 1.5. I think he could throw 2 touchdowns this week against a team that they're gonna have to keep up points. So minus 125. I don't know if you like that one, but let's take a peek here at the actual touchdown scores. What's sticking out to you here?
Yeah, I think we expect Dallas to score. I mean, Denver's going to do their best to limit them, but we do have some questionable players. So CeeDee Lamb, Cooper, as we know, both questionable. Do you expect both of them to play? Do we think one sits, one starts?
Interestingly, they're coming off the bye, and Cooper had, I think it was week 4 where he had the hamstring injury where he left the game briefly, came back. So I don't know if they're just being cautious and they don't want him to flare anything up. I think Cooper's going to be just fine. CeeDee Lamb, I'm not really too sure of because he had the ankle sprain on Wednesday's practice, didn't really practice on Thursday. I can't recall if I saw him practicing on Friday. Let me just pull up those reports real quick. But I haven't seen like any like proceed with caution type, energy out of the Cowboys. So let's see here. Cooper limited practice all week. I think that's going to be fine. And CeeDee Lamb did not practice Thursday, but he got a limited in on Friday. So I'd be more concerned if he was DNP on Friday. I'm going to assume both guys are good to go. Sure. We still haven't gotten word on Michael Gallup yet either. So it's hard for me to project Cowboys touchdowns. I think Zeke's probably the safest play. Maybe it's a Dalton Schultz game.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Pollard's probably due for a touchdown, but that's definitely like you're kind of like leaning. I mean, if you look at the bottom of that list, you kind of have one of my favorite sleepers of the week,
Albert
Okwuegbunam. We have no Noah Fant.
I'm going to put him on the bets to consider list. We might even put him on the actual list because he's a good tight end. I'm excited about his opportunity this week. No Noah Fant. Any other Broncos stick out? I'm always going to throw out Jerry Jeudy plus 225 to score. He looked good last week. He just didn't get a lot of volume, only 4 targets. But it's good to see him get his feet back under him and get through a full game with no setbacks. So I'm excited about him this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is a tough game. Like
from a Dallas perspective, here's the hard part. You have their top guy. You have all 3 receivers at minus 105, which is very interesting because Cedric Wilson sitting at 105. I mean, if Lamb or Cooper are out, that's probably going to drop.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, do you just take a chance that one of those sits and you bet on Wilson? I mean, maybe you shift to the tight ends here. I mean, Dalton Schultz has looked pretty good this year.
No Blake Jarwin tomorrow.
No Blake. So you're thinking Schultz is going to get the run. I mean, he's shifty out there. He gets used towards the red zone too. So that plus 190, it's kind of like a nice leverage play on these minus 105 receivers, but maybe Zeke's just a safe option. Maybe Dak runs for one. I don't know if he's got too many rushing touchdowns this year.
So I'm just pulling up real quick. The Broncos have not allowed a tight end touchdown. There's only a few teams that have not allowed a tight end touchdown, so it's going to be tough. 31 catches, 313 yards, and no touchdowns. But again, maybe that's due to correct here. It wouldn't surprise me if Schultz catches 2. At this point. So I'm kind of interested in Schultz at plus 190. I'd rather do that than dive into Cooper or Lamb at minus 105. But those are game time decisions. If you're feeling a good way about those guys, I would say wait, hour and a half before kickoff and touch into those.
Absolutely.
So we kind of covered the Cowboys enough, but just outside of like Javonte, Melvin Gordon, like all these Broncos seem really difficult to. It's like whack-a-mole. I don't know if I feel good about any of. It could be a Tim Patrick week for all we know. So I think for me, I'm probably staying away from the Broncos side. It just feels like there's 5 or 6 options. It's hard to find the best one.
Yep, I would agree. I think we've highlighted the kind of the main players that we think are good and kind of go on.
I just want to take a peek real quick at the yards. I don't really like betting rushing yards here. Nothing really sticks out there. But as far as receiving yards, dang it, they don't have an Albert O line here for us. But Jerry Jeudy 56.5. I'm tempted. Dalton Schultz 43.5. I'm tempted, and nothing else really sticks out here.
Do they have a what's the INT odds for the Cowboys? Diggs, man, Trayvon Diggs. He is just playing very good. I'd be very curious to see if they do have something in there.
Go to the quarterback props.
I guess
Teddy Bridgewater interceptions over 1 or over 0.5 is minus 145. So people are digging it.
Yep, people are taking it.
I kind of like the Teddy over 1.5. That's if I'm going to bet a Bronco touchdown bet, I think that's probably the one that I'm going to go with. We saw Javonte and Melvin Gordon catch a touchdown pass on that Thursday night game against Cleveland. So like, I think Teddy kind of gets the majority of the stats here. Let's move on to the next game. I kind of want to click in the Vikings and the Ravens. Let me just take a peek at the QB props real quick. You got Kirk Cousins over 1.5. People are kind of hitting that with minus 170. Lamar over 1.5. That one feels like I'm just thinking of that one game where we saw the Ravens just get all rushing touchdowns and nothing for Lamar. So that makes me a little nervous. And then interceptions here. Anything? Maybe Kirk Cousins in over 1 interception for Kirk Cousins. That's interestingly low. But what sticks out for these TD props? Dalvin Cook's the clear favorite at minus 125. That's actually kind of low enough for me to be interested in it. Minus 125. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think Baltimore is one of the worst teams against the running back this year. They're just kind of defensively, they're banged up. They don't have the right guys, and you might as well take advantage of that. 8 touchdowns on the year. So I think Cook is he's a lock. Yeah, I mean, if Minnesota wants to compete, they're going to have to be doing it through Dalvin. So, yeah, it's the only minus odds, but I think if minus 125, you're still, coming out relatively on top.
You put 20 on that, you're going to get 16 back. So that's 80% almost.
Yeah. On the flip side, I think Minnesota, they're, defensively, they struggle against the pass catchers. So Marquis Brown's been kind of turning it on. Do we think maybe he could find the end zone plus 120 is not terrible? I like a lot in this game. I mean, getting JJ at plus 160, Thielen plus 150. Which of these running backs for Baltimore scores? Because at least one is going to do it. Is it Latavius Murray plus 150? He kind of scores every other week.
Latavius Murray's probably not playing in this one. So if you have the stones to do it, take Devonta Freeman at plus 165 because I have a feeling. And what's weird is I'm actually surprised that they have Latavius Murray even on the list because I think on NBC Sports, like he has not practiced all week. He's listed as doubtful. I'm surprised that he's actually listed this high. So if you wanted to lock in Devonta Freeman at plus 165 right now, he's probably going to shoot up to maybe 150, something like that, even more. So that was alarming to me.
That feels pretty good. I mean, Le'Veon Bell's never really been a true good goal line back. I think Devonta's kind of the more punch it in guy. Sneaky though, I don't know if he's going to even be active, but Tyson Williams, if he is active, would
plus
be
400. Interesting.
I mean, it's a long shot, but with no Latavius.
So what do you know about Baltimore's defense against tight ends?
Oh man, they've been brutal, haven't they?
They are the worst team against tight ends this season. Let me show you. The Ravens, and keep in mind, this is just in 7 games here, but they've allowed 46 catches, 545 yards, and 6 touchdowns to tight ends. So basically a touchdown per game to the tight end spot and almost 80 or so yards to the tight end, as well as roughly 6 catches per game to the tight end. So Tyler Conklin, I don't care if you don't want to take this prop bet of 280, but he should be in lineups tomorrow. I think he's going to have a nice PPR day. But Cook is the free money play at minus 125. I think I'm interested in Justin Jefferson versus Marlon Humphrey. We saw Jamar Chase have his way against the Ravens here, and they kind of have a similar vibe to me. So I kind of like the Jefferson at plus 160. Why are we getting a discount on him?
Yeah, right. I mean, I know he's still playing very well off his rookie season, still having a good year. So I don't
And
wouldn't seem to be down on him.
I just want to see. I think it might be a few games since he scored a touchdown. I just want to double check this. So he might be due. He hasn't scored since week 4. So I'll probably lean into those odds and say he's got a good chance to score. But you also got to think Adam Thielen has a good chance to score here too. Should definitely consider that.
Yeah.
Um,
I think if we're kind of along the lines of like one bet from each team, Cook and Freeman from a running back perspective. I mean, Lamar at plus 120, you could probably take that every week and come out positive at the end of it.
Interesting to me. It just I love looking at these numbers here. So we know the Ravens give up the most tight end points. Mark Andrews might have a little slow day on Sunday here. Now this is just statistically, but they've only allowed 24 catches to the tight end, 327 yards, and they're one of the few teams that have not allowed a single tight end touchdown. So the Vikings very stout against Mark Andrews. I just a philosophical question. Like when you see that, Jesse, like does that make you like not want to use Mark Andrews in any DFS lineups? Like, are like does that make you pause? Like, what do you do when you see stats like that?
Yeah, I mean, when I see it, I think like, all right, well, first step is like going into the log. Like, who are they going up against? Are they going up against teams that are scheming against tight? Like they scheme their tight ends into games, or they kind of just like maybe they just have good receivers. The matchups haven't been well. But then I think, all right, who's on the defensive side of the ball for the Vikings? They have pretty good linebackers.
And Harrison Smith's over the top. So
right, yep, exactly. So they have players that can kind of jam those tight ends up, make their day uncomfortable. Which I think that's kind of the case here with the Vikings for sure. So
it's Marquis Brown week.
Yeah, I think Marquis Brown could be due for a good week.
This I think it's kind of always been Marquis. It's every week's almost been Marquis.
Yeah, he's playing. He's getting disrespected.
He's having a breakout season right now, so that's fun. I think this is probably, if I'm watching games at noon, I have a feeling this game is going to be on Red Zone, probably one of the most times during the noon slate. Let's just take a quick peek at the running back receiving props. I need to see what Tyler Conklin 32.5.
Smash. I think Marquis Brown over 58.5. I thought he was going to be maybe more like low 60s.
So
I'd smash that.
He only needs 59 yards.
I think that's easy. I mean, he could do that on one play.
And I'm just out of curiosity, the Minnesota Vikings against the wide receiver have allowed 9 touchdowns, 92 receptions, over 1,500 yards. They're the 6th worst in PPR points per game. So this is Marquise Brown. Shout it from the rooftops. He's going to be on our list. So that was fun. What's the net? Like we're on a limited time crunch here. Did you want to talk anything more about Browns Bengals? Like, should we dive into a more exciting game? Anything stick out?
Yeah, I mean, I think next on the list from an exciting perspective is maybe Chargers Eagles. Like, I mean, they have some like fun things just for a fantasy DFS purposes and betting purposes. Even though the Eagles might just not be very good at football, they're good at fantasy football.
I just want to look real quick before we start. So this is a chart showing. Just green is you want to target this. So where are the Chargers here? LA Chargers, Los Angeles Rams. Why can't I read? So the Chargers, they're going to allow running back points and they're going to allow tight end points. So I like Goddard, I like Boston Scott, and maybe some other running backs there in their system. The Eagles kind of even against everything, but they do allow running back points and tight end points. So we kind of have a mirror effect on both sides of the ball here. Touchdown scores, Austin Eckler, I think at this point, minus 120, you probably have to consider that. Maybe I was going to say, if you don't like the for sure kind of bets, parlay Eckler and Dalvin Cook. Have some fun, doing some simple 2-man parlays or something like that.
Yep.
But what are your thoughts here as you see some of these numbers?
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm being inspired by our loyal friend John Heffernan, but last week's script was not a Kenneth Gainwell script. It was, they were up, they were heavy, they were just ground and pounding. Kenneth Gainwell is their 2-minute offense. He's there. Hurry up, let's go. We need to catch up with these guys. And this week against the Chargers, you're not going to see Jordan Howard in there when they're down by 2 touchdowns. You're going to see Kenny G making sweet, sweet music. So I'm definitely interested in Kenneth Gainwell. His yards are probably going to be interesting to me. Boston Scott's probably going to be. I just don't think we're going to like Jordan Howard. Earlier in the week, I was like, oh man, I need a guy this week. It's not going to be Jordan Howard unless they're on the goal line and he, this is the Jordan Howard day. They're within the 5 like 2-3 times, and he gets to just punch a couple touchdowns in.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think between the 20s, Kenneth Gainwell, you're going to see him rack up some catches, some yards. So I'm curious if they have lines for like kind of like all-purpose or receiving, rushing. I think this is kind of be like everyone's going to be off Kenny G, and he's going to come out and have like a 15, 16 point PPR day.
And what's weird to me is like before Sanders went down, Kenneth Gainwell was kind of the goal line back. Like he was the guy getting called inside the 5. I think there's a couple carries, a couple touchdowns that he had inside the 5, and he's also been kind of like a red zone, just receiving threat. So I like the Gainwell call. That's a deeper play, plus 290. That could be a lot of fun there. But again, these teams both yield a ton of running back points and a ton of tight end points. So I think Dallas Goedert is probably, if there's going to be a passing touchdown, I'm betting on Dallas Goedert. I'm not liking Devonta Smith this week. If there's going to be passing touchdowns, it's Goddard, it's Kenneth Gainwell probably. And then on the Chargers side, again, Eckler's kind of free money here at minus 120. But there's Eagles are somewhat stingier against wide receivers. I like Keenan Allen. I like Mike Williams. Jared Cook sitting here at 200. I guess between Allen, Williams, and Cook, where like if you had to pick one, Jesse, like which one are you thinking?
Who gets the touchdown this week, right? That's the question. I mean, it's certainly a tough debate. I mean, the Eagles have given up 6 tight end touchdowns, 7 receivers. So you're splitting those 7 between 2 guys.
And
I guess
the Chargers have only given up 3. Chargers are the team against wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, Chargers are definitely not a team you want to be targeting.
Smith if you play in redraft or dynasty formats.
Yeah, definitely. Man, that's tough. So you're asking me to pick one. Allen and Williams are even at 125. Cook 200. I mean, I'd probably honestly for the fun take Cook.
So I'm curious. I just want to see of those touchdowns that the Eagles have given up. I just need to see what kind of body types they were. So can't filter, I guess. So Jawan Jennings caught a touchdown against them. Cedric Wilson caught a touchdown against them. Tyreek Hill has 3 of the 7.
Yeah, that's
Antonio Brown has 1. Brian Edwards has 1. So those are kind of all shiftier guys. I know Brian Edwards probably the biggest dude, but this is making me think more Keenan Allen. Considering some of these bigger receivers, like Mike Evans was held to 2 for 27 against the Eagles. Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb held out of the end zone. Calvin Ridley, nothing here. I don't know. Keenan Allen, that's probably the safest play. I really don't have any good feeling about it besides Austin Eckler. But there's going to be touchdowns in this, so maybe this is one of those situations where you bet on Keenan to score and Mike Williams to score. You're guaranteed one of them dips.
Take the hedge.
Just take the small win. And if both hit, then that's fantastic. There's a good chance that happens. So
tight end week. What's Darnell Parham at?
Donnie,
yeah.
Wow, buried at 550.
Sneaky.
We'll put that on the best to consider, man. That's going to be kind of fun.
Like on the 10-yard line, they run a 2T set, fake it to Eckler, over the top to Parham. It'd be interesting.
Yeah. And coming out of the bye too, they were out of the bye 2 weeks ago. I'm just curious if we start to see Donald Parham younger, Jared Cook older. I'm wondering if we start to see a shift. Very similar to like a Cole Kmet, Jimmy Graham situation last year, where Kmet started to overtake him at the end of the season. Just keep an eye on Donald Parham. But anything else in this game? You said you wanted to look at the rushing receiving over under for. They got nothing for Kenny G, unfortunately.
See listed on. I don't even see him listed on any props.
No, which is weird.
It's probably because everyone's been probably maybe smashing it. I don't even know. Maybe they can't set the line. Usually when that happens, it means that their early line was getting hit heavy one way, and so they took it down because they were like, "Oh, we got to reevaluate." So something will come up tomorrow. I mean, honestly, if Kenny G's receiving yards is anything under 30, I'm smashing it.
I just want to take a quick peek and see what the quarterback points have. So the Chargers have allowed. They're one of the best teams against quarterback first and foremost, but they've allowed 149 yards rushing. Eagles, one of the top teams or the toughest teams against quarterback. They've allowed almost 14 touchdowns here. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch, though.
It's interesting for sure. I mean, it's like the Eagles need a win. They're kind of desperation mode.
Touchdown props real quick for the QBs. Jalen Hurts over 1.5 minus 105. People are taking the over on Herbert here at 1.5. Is there passing plus rushing? Jalen Hurts 281.
Interesting.
So that's like 80 yards rushing and 200 passing yards for him. That's interesting to see. But I don't feel too great about anything else here. So let's move on to a different game. Browns Bengals. That one could be kind of fun here. Let's click into that real quick.
Browns Bengals, maybe finish up with the Bills or something.
Yeah, and then just right to the touchdown scores. Nick Chubb. Or I guess let me preface this real quick. Browns and Bengals. Let's just see what these teams allow. So the Cincinnati Bengals, they're kind of green against running backs and wide receivers, pretty stingy against tight ends and QBs. And then the Cleveland Browns, they're going to give up QB points and wide receiver points. So Joe Burrow and his receivers are in play here. What do you think of looking at these numbers?
Yeah, 140 for Chubb. I mean, I kind of honestly thought that's where like Cook and Eckler should have been. So I like that. Hang on one second. Take over for me.
So Nick Chubb, interestingly enough, he did not score the touchdown last week. I think it was Dearness Johnson. I can't remember the last time Chubb has scored a touchdown, so I could argue that he is due. He's only got 4 TDs on the season. He scored his last touchdown was week 5. This is a game where I think Nick Chubb. When you see a minus 140, I think taking Nick Chubb to score, you're going to want to pair him with another strong bet. Like a simple parlay of Nick Chubb and Austin Eckler to score could be a lot of fun. Let me actually look and see if I can put that on the screen for you guys. So even Dalvin Cook could be listed in this group as well. If you have a list of touchdown scores that you feel really strongly about, and again, usually these guys are in the minus odds, could just make a quick little parlay. So between these three, Cook, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, this parlay ends up being plus 465. If you just put $20 down on that sucker, you're going to gain over $100 on that one. So interesting. If you guys want to make little parlays, that's where taking some of the favorites to score a little bit more fun. Like you could just take Cook plus Chubb, and that ends up being 208. So kind of think about it that way. Let me get back to some of the other numbers here. Joe Mixon, minus 120. He's been playing really, really well. Jamar Chase, minus 105. Probably a touchdown in like every game, but like 1 or 2. I like T. Higgins this week. It's always a T. Higgins week for me.
Like it, dude. It's going to be he just hasn't scored. He's getting targets lately. He's getting amazing targets the last few weeks.
I need to. So, I mean, the first couple games of the season, he was on a touchdown streak. And the thing that really I really enjoyed last week was he got vertical. They finally started letting him do some down the field stuff instead of making him kind of a possession guy. So that 24.3 yards per catch, like you look at some of these average yards per catches, a lot higher than what he's been doing this season. So I'm excited about that. He hasn't scored since week 2. I'm into the T. Higgins week. Jarvis Landry plus 190. I don't know if I feel great about that. I think staying within these top 4 guys makes a lot of sense. What do you think about CJ Uzama?
I mean, the guy is just like he finds long touchdowns. I know there's so many receivers on that team to cover. He just kind of seems to be the forgotten man. Could it happen again? Of course it could. Cleveland, as you know, they're okay against the tight end, not fantastic. I don't know. I can't bet CJ Uzomah. I mean, 1 week I play him in DFS, he does nothing. The next week you don't play him and he scores 2 touchdowns. Seems a little streaky. I mean, I think Chase is your safe guy, and Higgins is at plus 150. He's due. Tyler Boyd, kind of the third option there as well. He did find the end zone last week, so I don't know if he's like starting to heat up, but
just curious. Tyler Boyd just needs 48 yards. T. Higgins needs 61. Jamar Chase up here at 73. I don't really feel great about any of these. Nick Chubb, 85.5. That one's kind of interesting. I don't feel great about anything on this list, though. Let me just look at the QB numbers real quick.
Yeah, on a divisional game, I think
Baker Mayfield over under. If he hits 2, I think he could hit 2, but then we're taking away from Nick Chubb, so that's kind of interesting. Interceptions in this game. Have you taken the Baker Mayfield under anytime this year, like you were hitting last year?
No, I did not. I have not been taking it. Last year was I mean, it's just, I don't know. Sometimes you feel it. You got your feeling. This year, I think Baker's been kind of hit or miss. I'd be curious to go back and look to see if the unders were hitting. But
Is there a site that allows you to look at his unders for like a full season?
I wonder. I'm sure there's something out there.
Otherwise, that might be kind of fun to start. Maybe we could be the site that logs that stuff. But anyways, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns. To me, it's just go with the strong plays here. And while you stepped away, I parlayed Chubb, Dalvin Cook, and Austin Eckler to score. It ended up being plus 465. So pretty strong odds for those guys all to hit. And
yeah, I mean, that's a smash. I mean, if we hit, it's like saying if we hit 3 of our 5, those are probably 3 that we feel pretty good about.
Right.
And so
I'm trying to think here. Do you care about touching any of the Sunday night, Monday night games?
Yeah, I mean, it's Rams, you know what you're going to get. Bet Cooper Kupp. It's probably minus 200 to score.
I want to take a peek real quick at the Bills.
Is AP plus odds to score a touchdown?
We'll save that for the cherry on top of the end of the show. Josh Allen, 2.5 touchdowns. People are taking the under 2.5. They don't think he's going to throw 3. What do you think?
Against the Jags. I mean, this seems like it could be like one of those 5 TD games.
Yeah, like he can get that at halftime. I'm tempted here. Plus 145.
The Jags are stupid bad.
Let me just show you guys real quick what the Jags do. Jags allow QB points. They're kind of stingier against wide running backs because, again, they allow teams to pass the ball. They allow wide receivers and tight ends. Let me just look real quick. They've actually only allowed 11 passing touchdowns all season, but they've allowed 2 rushing touchdowns. So the Josh Allen rushing touchdowns are in play. Against the running back, they're actually middle of the road here. They don't allow too many receiving numbers from the running backs. And against wide receivers here, they do allow a lot of catches and yards. So let's take a quick peek at we can literally name any Bills receiver here to score. Stephon Diggs minus 120 feels good. Emmanuel Sanders plus 115 feels good. Cole Beasley's questionable in this one, so that makes me lean into Emmanuel Sanders a little bit more. I don't know if you feel any strongly about that. I'm sure you're looking at Miguel Davis down here at plus 450.
He's starting to heat up, dude. He's starting to heat up.
I kind of like Tommy Sweeney. No Dawson Knox. Sweeney had 4 targets last week. He caught 3 for 30 yards. He did catch a touchdown 2 weeks ago as well. Plus 210. I'm kind of interested here, but a lot of this hinges on Cole Beasley not being 100%. They might limit his again against the game against Jacksonville. They're probably not going to need a full, amount of snaps from Cole Beasley. It's probably a Gabriel Davis interesting week here. What other numbers stick out for you here?
Yeah, I think Tommy Sweeney's interesting. It's kind of been a year of the obscure tight end touchdowns, so Tommy Sweeney fits that perfectly. Yeah, you nailed it from the Buffalo side. If I look at the Jag side, where do they score the ball? It just doesn't feel great all around. Do we trust Carlos Hyde? James Robinson's banged up. Is he playing in this one?
I don't think so. He didn't practice all week. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, so he's not playing. So, does Carlos Hyde punch one in at plus 175? I think there's better ways you can take this. So then Marvin Jones, LaVisca, Jamal Agnew. If you're willing to take a long shot.
I don't want to put any money on the Jaguars.
Yeah. So none of these feel great. Dan Arnold, they're all plus 350. So it's
So I like the Jaguars at in some games, but not against Buffalo. This feels like a 42-10 game where I don't feel like fishing for the lone probably Dan Arnold touchdown that's gonna happen, right?
You're hoping for garbage time, and it's you don't really want to lean into garbage time to get your money.
Here you go. It's gonna be Dare Ogunbowale with the receiving touchdown. That's probably
T-Law rushing touchdown plus 5.
Right. Or we're gonna see a Jacob Hollister on a 3 tight end set at the goal line. But I like Zach Moss in this one. He's plus 125. I think it's been a while since he scored, and he's again the goal line back. He's kind of the touchdown scorer more so than Devin Singletary. So really, Diggs, Allen, Moss, Sanders, those are the top 4 Bills for me. And again, just the health of Cole Beasley. He's more of a PPR guy, not really a touchdown specialist. So I do like the top 4 Bills here, and I do like Sweeney, but Gabe Davis is fun too. So you should probably consider getting some of those Buffalo Bills in there. I don't really care about receiving, rushing, and over props in there. But do we have time for one more game real quick? Should we take a peek at that Adrian Peterson touchdown line?
Absolutely. We got to click into it.
So TD scores. We got
Oh, yeah.
Adrian Peterson at plus 150. This feels good.
Get the money.
This feels good. While we're here, AJ Brown plus 150. I just want to show you guys real quick. So we know the Rams defense is fine, but against the receivers here, 120 receptions. That's like the fifth most or the fourth most in the league. So they do allow receivers to have decent days. AJ Brown is kind of he's just on one right now. AJ Brown might be one of the best receivers in the NFL at the moment right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just double check here. The Rams defense. People think I think people overrate the Rams defense just a little bit. They rank 18th in total PPR points allowed. They are stingy against QBs, but teams can get some running back points, they can get some wide receiver points, and they can get some tight end points against them. So I don't really know any other Titan that I would bet on besides Peterson, AJ Brown, or the Tannehill touchdown. What do you think for this game?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty concentrated offense when you break it down. Julio just is not the Julio that we know and love. You get that age apex, and you just happens. So I think you hit the two that are probably worth taking a good look at, and then the other side of the ball. I mean, Tennessee's I think they're the worst against the wide receivers for points allowed. So Cooper Kupp 175, free money.
Might be a Bob Woods night. It feels, especially like on primetime games. Bob Woods usually has a good primetime game. I'm trying to think. Who did they play earlier this year? The Rams played. Was it a Thursday night game against Seattle? Maybe. I can't recall. The game Russell Wilson got hurt. Maybe did they play the Rams in that one? I can't remember. I think it was. I think it was Rams Seahawks on a Thursday night, and Bob Woods came out and got like 10 for 130 yards or something.
Nice.
So I like Robert Woods. The guy that's really surprising me this year is Van Jefferson, though. Just even in like a standard full season league, Van Jefferson's probably a guy that you could whip out at flex at this point and hope for a long ball touchdown. No Deshaun Jackson. And just from doing projections over the years, the Rams are one of my favorite teams to do projections on because like they only like give the guy like they have like 6 dudes that they give the ball and that's it. They have 3 receivers, they have 2 running backs, they have 1 tight end. Like that's literally all they want to. They just want to use those guys. So I'm interested. Cooper Kupp at minus 175 though. You're gonna have to parlay that with something on the Monday night game. You give me a Cooper Kupp and a Najee Harris touchdown single parlay.
There you go. I think Bob Woods is, plus 105. It's pretty good chance that he's going to find the end zone. So
and I'm trying to think, he's probably got like 5 TDs on he's having a sneaky good season. People are disappointed, but he's wide receiver. I'm not even filtering by PPR. So he's a fringe wide receiver 1. And
man.
Got 1, 2, 3, 4 receiving touchdowns and 1 rushing. So he's got 5 TDs on the season here. We'll see if he can keep it going. I'm trying to think. Anything else? Let me just double check the QB props. Stafford over 2.5. People are hitting the under. Tannehill over under 1.5. People are kind of even on this one. Do you have a strong take on if he hits the 2?
I mean, do you expect him to rush for multiple touchdowns? Probably not. Do I expect Tannehill to hit 2 touchdowns? Do we think the Titans stay in this game?
I think they're gonna. That's the game script, right?
Yeah, I mean, the implied total for the Titans is 23. So are we talking 2 touchdowns and a couple field goals? Are we talking 3 touchdowns and a field goal?
Well, they're guaranteed 2 touchdowns, but you got Adrian Peterson on the sideline there, so it's close. I actually think the Titans. I don't know. Teams with adversity this year usually have shown up pretty strong that week that it's happened. So no Derrick Henry, it might be no kind of problem because I've always been wanting the Titans to kind of air it out a little bit more. So we could see some fun inspired football out of the Titans. AP 32.5. Are you interested in that line?
Yeah, 32.5 is not bad. I had to assume that he's going to get more run than you expect.
The disrespect of AJ Brown at 75.5. I'm interested because AJ Brown, Jalen Ramsey, I don't know. They've been playing Ramsey more inside the slot this year. I don't know if they're going to continue to do that. But AJ Brown, that one feels kind of fun. Robert Woods 59.5. That's probably the one that if you're going to take any of these bets, I like that one.
Yeah, that one feels pretty good.
I don't know. But anything else stick out, or should we send it off today, and then we'll make our list later in the day and get that uploaded on the website?
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to give your Jordan Love take.
We just got to tap into it real quick. I'm interested real quick in the QB props here. Mahomes 2.5. People are taking the under on that. That's interesting. Jordan Love is at 1.5. People are taking the under on that. For touchdown scorers, I mean, Aaron Jones minus 110. I actually think Devontae Adams is going to have he's going to just have a nice day. Like, he's still going to be targeted probably 10 plus times. So I'm not really scared about that. If Jordan Love were to throw a touchdown, it's going to be to Devontae Adams. So that one, it does feel a little scary because you're also betting on Jordan Love, but I kind of like that. AJ Dillon at plus 380. That could be some fun fireworks there. Aaron Jones. Jordan Love 550 to score a rushing touchdown. Let me see what they have him at QB props. 232 yards. I'd probably take the under on that. I think the way the Packers are going to set this guy up, even with Rodgers doesn't really even go over 250 passing yards anymore. So why would Jordan Love that high? So I think the game script is to have him throw the ball no more than 22 to 25 times. Keep it in that range. Let him complete quick, short passes, run the ball, use the clock. I'm excited about it. The interceptions, though, Jordan Love over. People are smashing it at minus 230. He's probably going to in my mindset, I'm giving him one turnover. He gets one turnover. If he gets the two, then the Packers are likely to lose. But the Chiefs are just as prone to turn the ball over right now as Jordan Love could be. So that's kind of fun. And Patrick Mahomes over. Are you taking a Mahomes interception in this one? Tis the season.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes is leading the league in interceptions. So why wouldn't it continue? I don't know. Packers defense is pretty solid. You know, they get the pressure, which I think Mahomes this year is when he's in pressure, he's still trying to make the big play. That's the problem. So if he continues that way, he's going to make mistakes.
So I think Tuesday morning, I send to Drake all the Packers defensive stats, and Packers are a top 10 defense right now in almost every major statistical category, especially QB hits, QB pressures, sacks. That's probably been the most impressive. So that's what I'm interested in this game is the Packers defense against this limping offense right now. So we'll see what happens. But this was fun. Any final thoughts for the people before we get out of here, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, I think the kind of the marquee games this week are hindered by the injuries. So always be browsing that waiver wire. Try and get ahead of the game.
And I don't know what, do you just use Twitter for news? I think today and tomorrow morning, you're going to want to make sure you check your news radars because there's just so many injuries, like Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, the Dallas Cowboy receivers, Latavius Murray. Like, there's so many injuries that are to be game time decisions. So I would say check with that. That's probably why we're going to probably be a little bit more patient with putting out some of these numbers, but we'll see what happens. But I'm going to let you get out of here. You can go golfing now. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next Saturday. Have a good one.